Welcome to Rocket Ship, the home of epic React Native content. I'm Simon Grimm, creator of Galaxies.dev, and in today's episode we have to talk about a lot of news. We have new packages in React Native, we have deprecations, we have announcements, we have really great things to talk about. And on top of that, I want to share some personal updates about the project I work on, as well as some trending technology news. So let's dive straight into today's first section, the React Native Radar. Shopify, or precisely William Candillon, released a great article about the future of React Native graphics, precisely WebGPU, Skia, and beyond. That's the title here. Now, I would like to summarize what's going on here, but I feel a bit like Bilbo in The Lord of the Rings when he says, like, I know only half of you as half as much as you deserve, and when he's drunk. And I feel a bit the same about WebGPU and Skia. So technically, I think I understand what's going on, but I recommend that you definitely read on this. So all the links for the things I talk about will be in the show notes as well. Pretty much, William sums up the latest changes and trends, what's going on with React Native WebGPU. So with WebGPU, you can access the tools, actually the Dawn implementation for WebGPU from Google Chrome, which makes many things easier, and bringing this to React Native gives us a lot of possibilities. So first, you can create stunning 3D graphics. So with Skia, you could always do impressive 2D stuff. But with the help of WebGPU, it becomes a lot easier to bring in things that people already use on the web. Certain shaders that look like, I think it's pretty much C code or so, but it's no JavaScript or TypeScript. And you can one-on-one copy this to React Native and run it on a native device. It will then use the either Metal on iOS, or what's the according other thing for Android? I forgot the name, but pretty much the native implementation, so you get the best performance. On top of that, enabling access to WebGPU also gives us the possibility to outsource heavy compute tasks, things like TensorFlow or maybe even LLM models on a device to run on the GPU. I think this is interesting, and it opens up a lot of possibilities. In the article, William also describes the improvements to Skia and the new Graphite backend, which unifies things. It improves performance a lot. You can now use it on macOS, tvOS, and even Node.js, which is kind of crazy. He had this example of an application using this on the server side to dynamically generate the Open Graph preview, which you can see. It's fascinating where you can use React Native and how we bring in the best technologies from everywhere into the React Native ecosystem. So, epic article by William Candillon on the latest changes, but again, I probably understand 30% of what's going on here. What I understand is that Nishan, one of the new developers that was hired at Expo, I think I talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, already made some PRs. So I said that Nishan is into CSS stuff, and he definitely is, by shipping a PR for background position, size, and repeat. Yeah, we will soon have this, at least if the PR is merged, in React Native. So you can just set a background image, you can set a background repeat and background size, and just create beautiful backgrounds, bringing more of the CSS standard to React Native. I'm absolutely looking forward to this. Then, we, of course, in every episode, we need to talk a bit at least about Evan Bacon and what he's doing, because he's doing something new every week. Give him a star. He recently built an app that builds apps. It's fascinating on its own. He also live streamed that whole thing. I don't know if they had I said this before, that they probably had a hackathon. But the cool thing is he open sourced the whole code for this project, and it's using the AI SDK from Vercel in the background as well. It uses RSC, it uses DOM components, and you can use the app to generate new Expo Router components in that app. But the implementation is also pretty impressive, and what's going on and how he's using API routes with the AI SDK. So if you plan anything like this, definitely give it a star, save it, or just go through the repository code and some interesting files like the chat API. It is definitely worth taking a look at. Now, some other news, maybe this is sad for you. There was a post on X deprecating React Native IAP after 8 years and moving forward with Expo. So the React Native in-app purchase package will be deprecated. and it will migrate to Expo modules. Expo is pretty much the new norm. There's a little image here about this: cleaner API, lower maintenance cost. So if you've been using this, keep an eye on this. I don't know, I think I've used mostly the Revenue Cat implementation for in-app purchases, but I know that the React Native IAP gives you a lot of freedom and flexibility in terms of how you handle in-app purchases in your application. So just keep an eye on this, that this will soon change. New packages. We have a new announcement. Mark Rosavi, our good friend from the React Native Vision Camera and from Magello, excited. Did he steal my words? I'm super excited, Mark. These are my words. I'm super excited, nobody else. But anyway, he announces React Native Nitro Image, an all-new image component for React Native built entirely with Nitro views. Going a couple of steps back, Mark Rosavi and Magello, they created Nitro modules, probably at the end of 2024 or 3, I don't know. Which has a new way, which is sort of a competitor to Expo modules or Turbo modules, and embraces the new architecture heavily and doing a lot of cool things. Since then, he has also added Nitro views, which pretty much allow you to pass a native view entirely to your JavaScript so you can like interact with it. And with React Native Nitro Image, he's extending this. So the main feature is an in-memory image type that allows operations like resizing, cropping, array buffer conversions, and more without any file I/O whatsoever. I think this is going to be interesting for the people who need this. Because he's also saying this image component should set a new standard, so other libraries like Vision Camera will be able to return instances of this image type directly without writing temporary files. I think that had been his whole vision before, and what you can do with Nitro modules as well, that you have these, there was like a specific name for these Nitro objects that you can access. Anyway, I think is it in alpha or is it already stable, Mark? I don't know, but you know, when Mark ships a new library, there's usually a good reason for it, and it's usually something pretty cool. It looks pretty easy to use, so go check this out. And then we have an update for one of my, I can't say favorite libraries, but whenever I need confetti, I reach for React Native Fast Confetti. And it is now at version 1. I don't know why it wasn't before, but I'm still happy to support smaller creators as well. This is a great library. It uses Skia, so you get really an epic confetti animation. It works both native and on the web, so I really love this. I love the confetti, how it falls, how you can configure it. You need to start this repository if you haven't done it. It's at 300 stars. It definitely needs 1K stars. So check out React Native Fast Confetti. This is not all, my friends. I know this is an exciting episode. I know they were like boring last weeks, and maybe Simon just tried to come up with stories, but this week we really have a bunch of news, and I didn't expect this. And I say this every week, but I really didn't expect this. Anyway, Christoph from no, this is not, is it the Christoph? No, it's a different Christoph. It's not the Christoph from the IDE, a different Christoph shared that they just shipped an alpha version of React Native Video version 7. So they revamped the whole package at the Wildlards group. I always wanted to bring on, what was the creator, Bart or someone of the Wildlards group? Anyway, might do this in the future. And they also follow a similar approach as we've seen with Expo Audio and Expo Video, where they have like a hook to load the resource, to preload it in a more performant way, so the time to first frame is reduced. It looks like it's a lot faster in the latest version. It has really only a couple of FPS drops and looks a bit better than Expo Video in some diagrams. In some, it's also a bit better, but it's also an alpha version, so we gotta have to keep an eye on this. I still like Expo Video, but this is once again also coming full circle back to React Native Video 7 is actually using Nitro modules, and they're a cornerstone of version 7. They supercharge library performance, making it even faster and more stable. I wonder if more of these like big libraries in the future are gonna be built with Nitro modules. It certainly looks like it. It is probably, I don't know, I would call this still niche. it's not heavily used. So I think the regular user, if you're building a React Native application with Expo and you're at a point where it's like, oh, we need this native functionality, you would probably go for an Expo module. However, if you have the clear intention of, we want to build the best the best React Native video or the best React Native whatever package and open source it, I think in those cases, if you have the intention to create a library, going for Nitro modules is a good idea, as it will give you really a lot of power. And especially in things like video, audio, you want to have the best possible performance. So for library creators, React Native Nitro is probably the new standard. A lot of views. One more thing. We started with William Candillon. We've wrapped up with William Candillon. The latest version of React Native Skia will now support Skottie out of the box. If you don't know Skottie is the Lottie animation renderer built on Skia. So if you don't know Lottie helps you to create like these beautiful animations. We've seen intro screens and other kind of animations playing with Lottie. And with Skottie, you can bring this into your React Native application in a performant way. And now React Native Skia supports it out of the box. Mark Rosavi, love his comment, REP Magello React Native Skottie. I knew they had this package before, so now it's probably obsolete. Maybe that's like when one package from Mark is gone, like React Native Skottie, he's doing the new one, the Nitro Image. Yeah, let's kill more so we can see more new packages from Mark in the future. But I think that's all for this week. I hope you got this overview. Again, all the links will be below this episode. Check out the creators, leave stars on GitHub, because the React Native community is epic. As always, I'm using these podcasts also to share a bit behind. As always, I'm also using the podcast platform to share a bit more about what's going on behind the scenes of Galaxies and what I'm doing. So this week, there are pretty much 3 things I want to keep you updated about. First is the Amazon clone I've been working on for the last couple of weeks is finally coming. Next Tuesday, set your clocks in the evening, German time. Amazon clone will drop on YouTube. It is, I think, actually like a 6-hour video, which is most of these clones. They're all like 4 to 6 hours. And I hope it covers a lot of interesting aspects. It has a real API. It has some real cool functionality. It has an AI voice agent included, something I've never done before. So it really shows impressive things that you can do with React Native, and I hope it gets some love. I'm also keeping an eye already on the next clone project. I was thinking about a couple of things, and I think I already found the topic, because recently I read the news that Pocket, one of the tools that I use to collect links on the web that I will then never read again, stopped its business. I don't know why. Maybe because everyone used it like I did, just like save and then forget about it and feel good. But I think we're gonna do a Pocket clone with React Native, because you can't use Pocket anymore, but you can build your own Pocket application. And that should have some pretty interesting things. I think I will use SQLite and some storage stuff, and I also want to do a share extension, so that when you're on iOS, you're on a website, you can click share, and then it shows your app, and we can bring in the content to your application. Gonna be interesting, at least I think so, I feel so on the outside. And the third thing is then, you probably haven't heard a lot about my personal apps lately. The last thing I did was the mental AI therapy thing. I kept you updated about this, and then I said I killed the app because it was just not worth fighting with Apple over the legal stuff of this app. Now, after being in a little down phase over the last couple of weeks where I wasn't super motivated, I had the triathlon that took my mind space away. Now I had a little surgery, and thinking through everything, I'm now back at, I just want to do good content and focus on Galaxies, and forcing myself to come up with new ideas and build a native application on the side so that I can show it off or maybe make some money on it is at this point right now just not my priority. It's just taking away a lot of my time and energy once again from Galaxies. And I really want to make Galaxies the best place for you to learn React Native. People listening to this are probably already familiar with Galaxies. You might have already purchased it or whatnot, but my idea is really to make this the place where new React Native developers learn. They come from React Web, or maybe they come from iOS and Android, and they learn on Galaxies. They start with the Zero to Hero mission, and I will then follow this up with my next mission, which I'm currently outlining. It is currently the working name Ship It. So you can imagine what's going on in that big next mission. But to focus on these things, to create cool clones, to create general interesting stuff on YouTube, and maybe even stay at least a tiny bit active on social, I just don't, there's no room for the native application stuff or shipping my own apps. I really wanted to do this, and it was my plan. I shipped a couple of apps, and yes, they make money, but making money from your apps isn't that easy. I followed indie hackers in the past, I followed app developers in the past, and some really got successful. And it usually gives you this feeling of, I want to do this as well. I know so much, I should be able to do it myself. But it's not like I can ship a mobile app, a good app, in 4 or 10 or 20 hours. It requires so much more. Just coding the app is fun. It's trying out libraries, it's connecting backends, it's using AI technology. It's totally fun, but then we got the whole process of making it ready for the App Store, thinking about App Store optimization, the whole aspect of marketing. So many people have 10 TikTok accounts where they warm up their accounts and then they share things about the app just to make it popular. I just don't have the time and the energy to do something like that. And if I half-ass a mobile application without really any strategy how I want to market it, how people are going to use it or learn about it, then it's just wasted time. And at some point, I just had to accept this, that right now in the place where I'm currently in, it doesn't make sense for me to continue this. That doesn't mean that in 2 or 3 months, I might change my mind and tell you that I'm working on the next app. But right now, I don't really have any good idea for a killer mobile application. I would love to do something with AI as everyone's doing, but I don't have the idea and I don't have the time. So I will focus on what I enjoy, and that is creating cool content for Galaxies, YouTube, and the podcast. And honestly, today recording this podcast, I really enjoy our time together. So if you're listening to me, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Leave something like a comment or anything on X if you listen to this episode. It really means a lot to me that you're listening. Alright, let's finally talk about a little topic that's trending in technology. And in fact, I have 2 little topics I want to talk with you about. The first is a post I made. So I don't often post on X, but when I post, it currently gets really viral. That one had 470 likes, 150 bookmarks, and 30 retweets. I don't know what happened. I just took this because I wanted to share it, honestly. Maybe that's an approach for the future. If something is epic to me, I should just share it. Anyway, what did Simon share? I shared that Expo Router has been really a game changer for me. I shared a picture of a combination of tabs and draw, something I worked on for my next essential. And I don't know why, but people really liked it. They also had some questions about it, but essentially I just think that Expo Router is something we're not really talking a lot about. We just accepted that it's there and we use it with API routes and RSC, but the whole concept of file-based routing with React Native is still very new. You probably won't see this in a whole lot of applications, especially not in any kind of legacy applications, but once you get the hang of this, you can create complex layouts really, really fast. You just need to understand how you structure the folders and the layouts and what goes up, what goes down. And at some point, it just feels like normal to you and just feels like this should be the way how you build navigations. So my question was, if you're not using it, why? What's stopping you? So if you take a moment, leave a comment on X or just send me a DM. I would love to know, because I think it's a masterpiece and it enables me to create any kind of layout really, really fast. The second news I wanted to talk about is, and I don't really do this, I wanted to highlight something Theo said. So I haven't been following Theo a whole lot lately. But this time he was quoting one of the other podcasters I'm listening to. So you might know the Greg Eisenberg podcast is the Startup Ideas podcast. I really like that one. But he's also a lot into AI. And he posted that once you understand MCP, you never see the internet the same way. On which Theo replied or quote tweeted, "This is the tweet that convinced me MCP is just Web3 all over again." And while I'm not 100% the same opinion as Theo, and it looks like Kenzie Dotz isn't as well, it looks like they're gonna be on a live stream soon, I kind of feel Theo in this. I read in pretty much like every second tweet that I see, someone is telling me that MCP is the future. Why are you not doing MCP? MCP enables everything, and I honestly don't entirely get it. To me, it also looked like just like it is pretty much an API for LLMs, so they can talk with each other, but it's not so magically to me. Pretty much everyone is currently integrating MCPs into their application, and this can mean two things. It can mean that it's really as epic as everyone's saying, and it will revolutionize how we work and build apps and how we do everything in our life and will control us. The second option could also be that it's unbelievable hyped right now because it's such a nice buzzword and you can make so much out of it. I kind of tend towards the second opinion at the moment. If you want to convince me of the opposite, do so, let me know. I have definitely seen use cases where MCPs might work, and I integrated once in the beginning. Like when it was totally fresh, I integrated an MCP in Cursor that always sent me a ping notification, like a actual sound, when Cursor was finished. Now this is integrated in Cursor by default, but that gave me a little glimpse of what's possible. But honestly, it was pretty much just like an LLM talking to an API. And I don't know, maybe that's the thing, maybe not. I will keep you updated if I make any advancements into MCPs and React Native in the future, but so far I have enough to learn with React Native, Skia, WebGPU, and everything beyond. So, if this episode confused you, I'm with you, I'm just as confused, and we're all learning and growing together. If you got any topics I should include in the next episode, let me know on X or any other platform where you follow me, and I will hopefully catch you in the next one. If you're not yet subscribed to the podcast, do so. This podcast should drop every Thursday, and thanks for being with me for about 20 minutes this week. I will catch you next week, and until then, happy coding, Simon. Thanks for joining today's episode. My goal is to share interesting stories and insights into the world of React Native development. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. And on Spotify and Apple, you can leave up to a 5-star review. Because podcasts, and especially niche podcasts like this, are hard to find, subscribing and leaving a review does help me a lot. On top of that, check out my React Native courses on Galaxies.dev that cover a variety of topics from getting started to building and publishing your mobile app. Finally, you can share today's episode with a friend or colleague who would enjoy the topic of the show. If you have any questions or ideas for future episodes, find me on X or leave a comment on YouTube. And last but not least, thank you for listening and happy coding, Simon.